working on it, man. What the fuck you say fuck me for, bro? Nah, bro, get off. Why you gotta be on my dick like that? Nah, boy, why you gotta be on my dick, man? Let me just jump on the moral of the story, bro. Like, there's no other, you know what I'm saying? You leave me no choice, dog. Cause now it's awkward. Right? Moral of the story, let's get it. Take one. Yo, I remember a time, nigga, when, you know what I'm saying? Well, I was much younger. Well, in high school. We call it high school out here. I don't know what school, this school, late school, early school that I got going on, you know what I'm saying? But it's a good thing that we're from different parts of the world so that we can tap in with one another, help each other understand each other's part of the world, right? Each other's angle of life and reality. So, high school, right? I remember, dog, just like listening to just peers, bro, just wanting to grow up fast. I remember, you know what I'm saying, just niggas hitting the gym, dog, niggas doing this, that, and the third, taking supplements, bro. Niggas taking Monixidol, dog, in high school, bro. Trying to grow beards and shit like that. Niggas already busting nuts inside the hoes, raw dog. You know what I'm saying? Niggas becoming dads, bro. Timers, raw timers, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? So that whole thing, it was just like, even like just starting smoking, drinking, just being cool, skipping school, bunking classes, this, that, and the third, smacking asses in hallways. You know what I'm saying? You had no business doing any of that shit, but you did it. Look, we here now. Look, nah, I ain't gonna lie. We here now. We learned the lessons. We learned the lessons we learned. You know what I'm saying? We corrected shit wherever we could. Some of, you know, soldiers died young. They died experimenting on this life thing. They died at the experimental stage, because that's what it is. It's the experimental phase, the teenage phase, from 13 all the way like 18, 19, you know, because by 2021, nigga, you into the game. You're expected to, you know, your boots to be strapped up tightly, doing your thing, already in the field. You know what I'm saying? That's like where you even graduate college, probably around there, yeah, or almost type shit, right? So I remember like just people just wanting to grow up fast, bro, things like that. And fast forward, nigga, you know, I mean, shit, there's decisions that I saw my peers making that I didn't make, right? Because of whatever reason. Because maybe at the time, I was mad just like in my shell. I was mad just questioning a whole bunch of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Just unlike my peers, because I am one of the people that grew up, you know, just introverted to myself. You feel what I'm saying? Not on some like negative vibe completely, right? But just on some, I'm really chill, like feeling out my own energy. You know what I'm saying? I've always been somebody who's sensitive to my own energy, even, you know, amongst the outside world. So I prefer just being to myself, staying indoors, you feel me, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not to say I didn't have my times where I was just like outside, you know what I'm saying? Crazy, just, you know, filled in the streets, you know. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. I filling up the streets with my presence. There we go. God damn. You feel me? Filling up the streets with my presence type shit. Just yeah, you never heard of that term? Hell yeah. Saying fucking wild ass pig out here, man. Just the concrete jungles. You know what I'm saying? I had my moments where that was that. But I was more chilled. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, I refrained from making certain decisions. There were certain things that I got into because of the whole isolation, you know what I'm saying? Just like being to myself, you know, a whole bunch of other habits that, you know, are not out in the open. Let's just put it like that. You feel me? Because every aspect of life has its fallen states and its glorious states, you know what I'm saying? It's good and bad, in other words. So, you know what I'm saying? Fast forward though, I'm really grateful that I was the person that I was, you know, having the kind of character that I had, you know what I'm saying? Because all of that. Well, there are aspects that I reflect on right now and be like, yo, that was actually kind of negative about me, looking like, among the scope of just among the people that were my peers. Like, I'd look at that and be like, yo, a 16-year-old is not supposed to act like that. Like, that's kind of, that's kind of questionable. That's kind of mentally ill, man. You know what I'm saying? At 14, be among the kids, be among the crowd. Like, why ain't you going crazy? Why are you like so super sensitive? Like, things like that, right? But those did have their benefits. You know what I'm saying? To a point where now I'm not like burdened with things that I now initiated in my teenage years that are now making me age like milk. Responsibilities that are now making me age like milk. Having me all stressed out. XYZ. You know what I'm saying? So if you're one of those people, dog, like, yeah, like, I don't know, share one of the, share some moments that you think you dodged a bullet back in the day when you were considered growing up. I mean, if you're still growing up, just grow up some more, you know what I'm saying? And then come back to this video, I don't know, 15 years from now, depending on how old you are. But like, if you feel like, you're one of those people, well, like in your early 20s, I don't know, mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s, I don't give a fuck how old you are at that point. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? What stories or experiences could you say, looking back, man, I'm thankful that I did not engage in this. You know what I mean? Because now, looking now, you know what I'm saying, it just makes my people age like milk, brother. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you got that, put it in the comments. Yo, here's another perception, right, that I got in terms of the whole generation thing. My POV on like on establishing or even identifying what a generation is, dog. I don't even think generation means people born from such a time to such a time. Yes, that can be seen as like a marker in terms of these are the kind of people, that are going to just relatively relate, with one another when it comes to certain things, because they are among certain age range. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to certain phases of life, they're all gonna relatively experience it around the same time, right? There is that aspect, but more than that, though, for me, I feel like a generation is just how the whole spectrum of humanity, bro, is about to experience reality at that point in time, right? I don't know. Let me see if I can't paint that picture in a other like clearer way. It's like all of us as a species of humanity are meant to, experience reality, right? Our world, the world around us, the advancement of how things are up to this point. We are all meant to experience that for as long as you're alive. You're meant to experience that in the way that reality presents it, right? How technology is at the moment, how business goes at the moment, how people educate one another at the moment, how people obtain or attain certain information in this present moment in time, how people relate with one another, how people love one another, how people reproduce one another. You know what I'm saying? And the things that just influence all of these, habits and ways that end up being the current present moment, that moment's way of how we live. Damn, I know I go around very long distance in terms of my explanations of things, but for example, it's like when it comes to relationships, right, or sexual exposure to humanity, how humanity is exposed to sexual energy, right? There was a time where when you were 16 years old, I'm talking about the 16 years old of this time. There's a time when you were 16 years old, I was 16 years old. It was much harder to access things like, things that expose sexual energy, right? Things like porn, things like nudity, movies that are filled with nudity. You know what I'm saying? This is just one aspect of an example that I just want to paint for y'all. There was a time when the internet wasn't the way, or it wasn't where it's at, to a point where, when you were younger, you had to probably, look at maybe a naked person through a magazine, a Playboy magazine, for, you know what I'm saying? Now it's like, man, a 12-year-old can have access because they got like tablets and shit like that. Let's say it's a degenerate 12-year-old. They got access to just like a plethora of just degenerate websites that can lead to a whole lot of sexual degeneracy. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, even at back in that day when the internet was just like a seed, bro, a seed that's planted. It wasn't where it's at right now. Even older niggas, even older guys, they just had access to the money to buy the Playboy magazines. You as a youngin', you had to bump into it. You had to like sneak and go under, inside of your dad's safe or whatever, cabinet, whatever, under the bed, under the whatever, to get it. He had the money to go buy it. He could go into the store and legally just get it because it was legal. He was an old man, like it was something dark, yes, but he could just walk into a store and do that. You understand what I'm saying? Even older men, but now, old or young, you have access to that shit via the internet. You know what I'm saying? So yes, the generation of people that live now, we do have POVs on people that were born from this age to this age, and then we call them Gen Z. People that were born from this age to this age, we call them millennials. That age to that age, boomers. But it's like everybody that lived, like, I don't give a fuck, you were born from 1918, if you're alive today, you saw everything that I saw. As per where we place our focus, but whatever that I was experiencing, it was around. It was real. Whether you were focused on whether you as a 71-year-old were focused on it or not, right? I was still going through what I was going through. You were going through what you were going through, and I was not even focused on what you were going through. I didn't even know you, but you were alive. I was alive. Meaning, in our entire scope of environment, in terms of existence, we were both within, we were both experiencing the same reality, man. Come on, in some sense, man. Moral of the story: don't try and grow up fast, bro. I guess I said all of that to say that, man. Just like naturally ease into like what you're supposed to go through, bro, as per what nature requires of you. That's it. That's all, fam. That's it. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Okay, right now,